Welcome to the Insomnia Project. Sit back, relax, and listen as we have a calm conversation about just ordinary things to help lull you, hopefully, to sleep. At the very least, we hope that it will relax you. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Marco Timpano, and joining me is Amanda Barker.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, Amanda. Our listeners listen to help find their way to sleep, and I just want them to know that for the last couple of days, I've had trouble falling asleep, so they're not alone. And I hope that this podcast episode helps them. And we're going to talk about nail care and nail styles and nails in the home.
Nails in the home.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Oh, my goodness.
Unless you want me to get to that right away.
I'm just curious. Maybe, because
Okay.
I wait in anticipation to find out what that means.
So you know what nail pops are?
No.
Nail pops are where you have small circular bulges on the walls or ceiling of your home.
Oh, you're talking nails to hammer, like to use for pictures.
Yeah, nails.
And
Well, these are probably
decorative plates.
or drywall nails in this case, or nails that are securing things in the wall, and then they pop out and you see them.
So not fingernails.
Well, you'll be talking about fingernails. I just figured
That's
I
what
would.
you think.
Well, nails is the subject of today's episode, so it can run the gamut. But I just thought I'll talk about nail pops because I was reading a little bit about them, and I thought it was.
What is that called? A homophone? When two things sound the same, but they're two separate and different things?
Yeah, I don't know. I know what you mean. I don't know the term for it.
I think it's a homophone.
I'll go with that. In the meantime, I'll talk about nail pops. So Amanda
Please,
can.
I want to know what a nail pop is. It
So-
sounds like a delicious snack.
So popped nails or spots where these nails have worked loose over the years. You know how homes shift and whatnot.
Like ours, yeah.
You'll sometimes see those little. Sometimes you'll actually see the nail head because the drywall or the plaster will have popped out. I'm going to take this from bobvilla.com because I think he explains it the best.
This is a homophone, by the way. I did look
is,
it up.
it
So
is. Okay. So that's awesome. So a homophone is
homophone. I
homophone
don't
is
think homophone.
well.
I think
don't-
it's I think it's
homophone.
pronounced homophone. But now I don't know because maybe I haven't said it since I was a little kid and I had a Bostonian accent, so I don't know. Anyway, a homophone is, as I said, each of two or more words having the same pronunciation but different meanings, origins, or spellings. For example, new and new with a K.
Oh, I see.
So nail and nail. But these are the same spellings.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. So, but I think, I still think it's a homophone because they're two very different objects in English.
I see. Well, with regards to
Nail pops.
nail pops are largely due to wood and drywall movement, and it often appears within the first year of construction of that home. That's when you'll really see it.
Why? Because it's just beginning to settle.
I guess that's when the weight of the home sort of really starts to settle. I don't know. I'm not a Bob Villa type,
Okay.
but I'm handy enough. Lumber used to build homes may contain moisture, Amanda, which is often absorbed
I see.
from the humidity in the air while lumber is stored in open-air warehouses. After construction, as the wood slowly dries, the studs may shift or twist slightly. This can cause individual nails to move. And when a nail holding drywall moves, it loosens the joint compound covering the nail. That's the little putty that you put to cover the nail before you paint the house once it's been secured, once the drywall has been secured. The result is a tiny bulge on the wall surface or, in some cases, a visible nail head if the drywall compound comes loose and falls away. We have that in our kitchen ceiling right now.
We do?
Yeah, you can see the nail head. I just got to patch that up. Yeah.
I didn't know that. So is this more common with wooden homes?
This is the most common cause of nail pops, and it's completely cosmetic. So if you have a nail pop,
Okay,
you don't
good
have
to
to
know.
worry. There are no structural issues to worry about, and the repair is fairly simple. I think it appears in more modern constructions than older homes because back then they didn't use drywall as much as plaster and other items, but they did secure wood. I don't know, Amanda. That's a great Great question.
Just because if it's wood related or that's the most common cause, I would think it would be less of something that you would see in brick homes like our home. But
Well, according to bobvilla.com, it's both the wood and the drywall.
oh, I see.
And to repair popping nails with screws, just tap on the nail back down with a hammer. It will solve the immediate bulge problem, but eventually the nail will probably work its way back. So a better solution is to tap the nail back down and insert 2 drywall screws into the stud, one about an inch above the nail and one about an inch below the nail, so that, in other words, the screws are now doing the work. The nail isn't, and you've pushed the nail in.
Right.
The screws will attach to the drywall, panel will be secure to the stud, and you don't have to worry as much. And then you just patch over the screws and the nail and then paint.
Drywall's an interesting thing because I have noticed in my watching of home design shows that certain areas of North America call it sheetrock.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. There's one very popular show that I love. Probably my favorite show, or one of them anyway. Now I'm trying to remember the name. Hometown, which takes place in Mississippi. And this is good to know, too, if English isn't your first language and you hear them, even if it is, you hear them interchangeably, drywall and sheetrock. On that show, they say sheetrock. But I've always known it as drywall. I've never heard of sheetrock. Or if I have, I didn't realize that was drywall.
But Amanda, I think they're two different things.
Oh, really?
Drywall is made with a chalky compressed compound. Sheetrock has more of a rock center. I'll look it up.
I'm not sure about that. I think it's the same, but definitely look it up. It's one of those things. So in the States, and I say this because my parents lived in Tennessee, my family lived in Tennessee for a while. There's the Mason-Dixon line, which I think runs through Tennessee, the Mason-Dixon. It's, I think, a highway now that I think about it. And so there's certain words that you say, you won't see that above the Mason-Dixon line, or you won't see that below the Mason-Dixon line. And it's always sort of referred to very casually as the divider between North and South, which I always find very interesting. But the word for soda versus pop, the word for sheetrock versus drywall, if it is the same thing. Another thing that has had a lot of different terminologies thrown at it is wooden paneling or wooden siding. The Texans of the TV show, the Magnolia People, Chip and Joanna Gaines, I mean, they have a whole empire now, but it started with that show that I don't remember the name of. But anyway.
Farmhouse Fun?
I don't think it's Farmhouse Fun. But they are really kind of the founders of the modern farmhouse movement. And they have taken this term. Well, we'll talk about that in a second. Do you have an answer?
I do. So drywall is a simple panel made of gypsum plaster covered with heavy paper.
Okay.
And you are right. Sheetrock is a trademark brand of drywall manufactured by the U.S. Gypsum Company. So it's just the name. Like Kleenex is associated for tissues.
Or fridge. Or is that refrigerator? No, refrigerator is the name of the thing, but a fridge is from Frigidaire?
Frigidaire is a brand.
I guess fridge, refrigerator, but I just thought there was more to that.
Some people say Hoover for vacuum. And so...
really?
Yeah.
Oh, the Hoover.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So the one in... and you may want to look this up, I don't know, but the one in that Chip and Joanna Gaines show, it's like, what is the name of that? Reno? Flip?
I'll look it up.
Something Flip. I think Flip is in the name. I mean, all of the names of these shows are so similar. But anyway, the number one thing that came out of that show, and that show's hasn't filmed in a long time, but is shiplap. Suddenly, all wooden paneling is called shiplap now because they use the term shiplap. And what I'm talking about when I'm talking about shiplap is that side wooden, usually paneling, that's horizontally laid. We call it something different up here. When we did it at the cottage, it was called tongue and groove.
Right.
Tongue and groove. But now people see and go, oh, you put shiplap in. which was not a term anyone heard. The original wood, or some people call it horizontal paneling or wood paneling. So there's a lot of terms for shiplap as well, but shiplap, because of the popularity of that TV show, which, again, south of the Mason-Dixon line, filmed in Texas, Waco, Texas, where they have their empire now. It's various TV shows. She has a cooking show. They have a magazine.
Fixer Upper?
Fixer Upper. That was it, yeah. So it's so simple. It's you almost forget it. But yeah, Fixer Upper.
Now I want to go from home reno repair and reno shows to your nails on your fingers.
Well, let's use Fixer Upper as the gateway, because Joanna Gaines always has black nail polish.
Oh, she has black nail polish?
She always wears black nail polish. And actually, I have to say, I got black nail polish about a week ago, and I was thinking of Joanna Gaines and how good it always looks on her.
Is she goth?
No, it's an interesting choice.
Okay.
No, they're Christian American family,
Right,
for sure.
okay. Well, you can still have a bit of goth in you.
That's true.
All right.
Goth can come in any form. It's true,
Sure.
as can Christianity. But their whole thing is happily ever after. I hope you're in that home happily ever after. But she always wears black. She has such effortless style. I think it's one of the attractions of that show. But she always has black nail polish, and on her it just looks so classic and interesting, and just an updated version of the classic red nail, really.
She's not trying to hide a bruise from nailing nails in the wall where she hits her nail and then bruises her
I
nail.
have no idea.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't even think of that. But anyways, I
Joanna
got black.
Gaines, if you're listening, let us know.
I got black nail polish. I hope I haven't said anything disparaging about them. I don't think I have.
No, you haven't.
I quite love them. I subscribe to their magazine.
You watch their shows.
I'm a big fan of the Magnolia Empire. In fact, I want to go to Waco, Texas to go see the store and stuff.
I have to say, of all the hosts on those shows, Joanna Gaines and her husband Chip are actually very lovely.
They're very lovable.
Most hosts on those reno shows are really lovely, but they are in my top three for sure.
I think, and we talked about Egypt before.
Who is awesome, and spoiler alert, Egypt and her husband. I'm sorry, I don't know her husband's name.
I'll look it up. I think it's Mike, but
I want to say Mark, but I think it is Mike. Won that show that we were talking about, Rock the Block, and we were so happy.
Absolutely. Yeah, Egypt and Mike. Egypt, Sherrod, and Mike Jackson. I thought it was Egypt and Mike.
And she liked our post, our Twitter post.
Well, we love her.
Yeah,
we're
she's good.
happy they won too, because they did some fine work on that show. You'd think I'd watch HGTV nonstop for the amount I talk about it.
You kind of do.
You know why? Because it is my go-to soothing thing. Watching home reno is a soothing thing for me, so I feel like I'm in a soothing place when I'm here.
I'm going to just say this for HGTV. Egypt and Mike should have their own show.
They have
one.
do.
Okay.
That's how they were on Rock the Block. They're one of the stars of HGTV.
They need a second show. That's how good they are, where Egypt just dispenses
store.
advice. I just want a show where Egypt dispenses advice because I think she's fantastic. But let's get back
I feel like you're leaving Mike in the shadows here.
Listen.
He does a lot of hard labor and good work.
Everybody knows behind a talented Egypt, there's somewhere a Mike in the background. All right, let's talk about nails on your fingers.
Okay. So anyway, Joanna Gaines and her black nail polish. So I'll tell you, I could have been a great pianist if only I would have cut my nails as a child, but I was quite in the 80s in love with the idea of having beautiful long nails. That was a real mark of beauty in the 80s. It was. You don't remember that?
No, I just don't understand how you could have been a great pianist.
Because you can't play that when you're a kid. They tell you can't play the piano if you don't cut your nails.
I see.
And I wasn't really willing to give them up, so I quit piano.
I got
which was not the best choice because nails grow back, and a skill in an instrument kind of leaves you after a while. Now all I can play is heart and soul, which I'd never learned from any lesson. I just learned from Mindy, my friend, when I was in 5th grade.
Can you play the flute with long nails?
I don't know other than
Lizzo does.
Oh, maybe. Yeah. Oh, yeah, probably. I think the only instrument that really benefits from long nails would be strings, right?
I see.
Like if you're self-picking, like guitars, maybe harps.
Mm-hmm.
I know there's more string instruments than guitars and harps, but that's where my brain is. So yeah, I was quite obsessed with long nails, although it never occurred to me that I had to have them matching. I actually had a friend named Natalie when I was 15 who would always, if she broke one, she'd cut them all, and I never saw anyone do that, and I thought, what sacrifice to cut all your nails.
Right.
But, in retrospect, I had probably very jaggedy nails that were mismatched all the time, but I grew them very long back then.
Tell us about your black nails. You started to.
Well, I got them a week ago. I'm not sure.
What kind of nails did you get?
Oh, I got shellac.
So tell us about that
Shellac nails
versus regular nails and what the process is.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
So shellac is the number one, if you're somebody who listens and nails are not your thing, you're not getting mani-pedis all the time.
That was Amanda kicking the
I
stick.
wasn't kicking. It shifted.
Okay.
I was bringing my foot down.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want me to?
No, it's fine. Continue.
Okay. Nora Ephron actually talks about this, how, people didn't used to dye their hair, and then suddenly people started dyeing their hair all the time. And it was the same with nails. You'd put your own nail polish on, and that would be it. You'd have a bottle of red at home, and you'd slap it on sometimes.
Sure.
And that would more or less be it for years. And then shellac came. And I think with the birth of shellac, acrylic nails, biogel, all these things became the birth of all these nail salons that you now see in pretty much every town or city.
Sure.
And I love the experience of getting them done. I love going and getting shellac. And again, I'm using the term shellac. It's such a harsh sounding term, but whatever it is, a permanent nail color or treatment that stays on your nail and grows out with your nail. Generally speaking, it doesn't chip off.
And it's just a lot of layers of nail polish. Is that what shellac is?
No. It's a sealant.
Oh,
so
I
it's
see.
so they use UV light.
Oh.
So what they normally do is they put a coat on and then they apply the color. And each time they apply the color, you put your hand into a UV light and it seals it. You can feel it kind of sealing into the nail. Yeah, it has almost like a hot feeling on the nail, under the nail bed. And you put it under this UV light, like a sun lamp almost, and but quite bright. And then when you take it out, it's dry. You don't need to wait, have like a fan on it or anything like that. And depending on the color, that depends on the coat. So with any nail polish. So you could, if you did like that, I did a yellow a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and the yellow took like 6 coats. It took forever to get that yellow. So I promised them next time I come, I'll do a dark color because dark usually takes less.
And so you went with black.
I went with black. Good old Waco, Texas, Joanna Gaines black. And it was great, and I was happy. And then last night I had to go and get it removed because...
That's why nails and nail care and getting your nails done was in my head for this episode.
Yeah. The reason I had to get it removed was because I'm shooting a commercial like I do. And because shellac is not something that you can show up on set and they just take it off. You need...
a tool?
A tool and also acetate.
Sure.
Is that what it's called? That's what gets off the paint. So usually what they do is they wrap it. You soak your fingers in acetate and they wrap it in foil, so the acetate can just kind of sit there and do what it needs to do. And then when they take the foil off, it's kind of all peeled up.
I see.
And then they take a tool and really kind of scrape it off like you'd scrape a windshield.
Okay.
Yeah, kind of thing. And then, it's everywhere, and then they redo it. So last night I got my black nails that were freshly done off because they decided they did not want this character that I'm playing to have black nails, which is fair, and I made a point of asking to make sure. And now they're just clear. So they're pretty basic. They're just cut and clear.
Now, Amanda, you enjoy getting your nails done. I've had my nails done for commercials as well, because as our listeners may know, and if there's any new listeners, you'll be hearing this throughout the episodes and seasons. I'm also a hand model, and if I book a gig, I'm asked to get my nails done. And it's a process that I don't enjoy, but you seem to
you
find
don't enjoy it?
You find it very relaxing.
But have you gotten your feet done? That's the relaxing part.
I have had my feet done, and I don't enjoy it. It's
You
not for me.
don't?
No, I don't. You know I don't.
No, I didn't know that.
Remember when we were in the airport in Atlanta, and I had to get my nails done because we were coming back home, and I was a little bit cross with the nail technician because they were doing the shape of my nails, not the way I like it, or not the way. Not even
Was
the way I
that?
like
I
it.
didn't realize that was the airport in Atlanta.
Yeah, we had a long layover, and I had to have I had a hand audition coming up, and so you had said, well, there's a nail place right here. We have some time. Why don't we go and get our nails done? And I said, okay. And I explained specifically the shape. I need a half moon shape, and they were doing more of a square shape, and I was like, no, I really need a half moon shape for my nails. And I wasn't quite connecting with the technician. And then you spoke to your technician, and they made it right for me. They said, okay, let me explain to the nail technician exactly what your husband needs. And it was all fine, but it's just not an experience I particularly enjoy. But you always seem to be happy to go to the nail salon.
I'm more happy. The nail salon, I'm happy to have nice, fresh, clean hands that I don't have to think about or worry about. Because when you use normal nail polish and you have any kind of life, it chips off very quickly. Doesn't so much on your feet because they're covered in socks and shoes, and you're not using your feet to open jars and scrub.
Some people might be.
Scrub sinks or whatever. And yes, I am. So, but when you have shellac, you can clean a house in them and you won't get a chip usually. Sometimes you do, but not normally.
So let me ask you this, Amanda.
Yeah.
What about once you get the shellac or your nails done, what do you need to care for them? Like, what's some nail care tips you would give?
Keep your hands moisturized. I think that's the main thing, because your cuticles will get dry. And see, the reason I like getting them done is I have quite a tendency to pick at them. So when I have my nails clean and nice, there's something about them that I'm less likely. Also, there's nothing to pick at because they've been taken care of.
Right.
Because that's my thing, is I'm trying to make it better when I'm picking. But I want to talk about pedicures.
Sure, let's do that.
Because I do find that very relaxing. And last night when I went, she was like massaging my calves and my feet and said, do you want me to do this? If you pay a little extra, I can do both legs, 10 minutes each. And I was like, I just gave her a thumbs up sign, like, go for it. I don't care, because I was like so enjoying it. So it's more like the foot rub and the care aspect. Although there's a real pleasure in having somebody really look at your feet in a way that maybe you don't have access to, because bending over and finding a good light and stuff is hard. So having somebody get the cuticles on your baby toe and all of that, there's a real joy there. And for them to slough off all the calluses that have formed at the bottom of the feet, it's really relaxing.
Well, I think as well, when it comes to feet, they get so little attention and care.
That's just it.
Generally speaking, and they work so hard. Your tender tootsies on the bottom of your legs.
Tootsies,
and they deserve a little tenderness too.
That's why I'm surprised you don't love that.
Yeah, I don't love it, but
no.
I can understand. I guess what I'm saying is I can understand.
When they're really working at getting the calluses off, that's like there's a unbridled joy that happens with that. And then you just feel like your feet look fresh and new and clean and baby soft, and there's a real joy in that, because you're right. Your feet need love.
Sure they do.
You ask a lot of them. So it's nice to just take, an hour out of a month or whatever and give a little bit of love back. And that's what a pedicure is. That's why people love to do them. And you feel great after you leave.
Mm-hmm. Now, what polish do you always match your nails on your hand polish to your nails on your toes polish?
I'm pretty boring.
Okay.
So I usually pick out my shellac color, which is usually the first thing you do when you walk in, and then say, get me whatever is the closest in my feet, because I don't want to do the shellac on my toes, because I don't want permanent nail polish on my toes.
Okay.
I like to be able to take it off.
Sure.
so that I don't have like half, and it's
And you
also
even
more money.
and you
so.
said your toes don't get the wear and tear that your fingers
Yeah,
do.
they're much easier to keep the polish looking great.
Mhm.
Like I felt bad because I was taking the black nail polish off last night and they looked perfect, which, usually when you go, you've let it go a while and you get the pedicure and then you fill it in and you're like, oh, the black is grown out. Oh, I think I have some, well, it's a gray black. Okay, I'll just paint over it with the gray black. And then
Sure.
that grows out and then you go, what's a nice bright color that'll look good? This blue or whatever. And so usually by the time they're at the salon, they're peeling off, the past 2 months of whatever it is that you've put onto those toes.
Sure.
And they sorely need it. Last night was an exception because they had been pedicured.
Recently.
Yeah, a week prior. But I have to say, my feet and hands feel great. And that's a great feeling.
Well, that is a great feeling, Amanda. Thank you for sharing all those taking us on that nail journey. And I want to thank everyone for being on this journey with us. If you have an idea for a podcast episode, email us at drumcastproductions@gmail.com. You can find it in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your reviews. Thank you for subscribing. It's my pleasure to be here with Amanda Barker and with all of you.
Mm-hmm.
We hope you have a great rest of your day, afternoon, or evening, and we hope you were able to listen and sleep.